Students of Reddit, what is your best school life hack? You can Google by file type. Using the syntax file type PDF name of the textbook I need will often give you downloadable versions and save you hundreds of dollars. Plus, being able to Control plus F a textbook is a lifesaver. This of course can be applied to any other file extension. Library Genesis. This can save students thousands of dollars. It has almost any book you would need with recent versions. This is an unethical and specific one, but it worked wonders. One of the vending machines at school accepted Yu-Gi-Oh cards as dollar bills. Edit, thanks for the gold, stranger. I turned off my phone for a small nap and come back to this. Edit 2, for those wondering, I found out from a friend. This is my favorite answer in this whole thread. It's made even better by the mere fact that someone had to think something like, I wonder if pot of greed could get me a soda. With this card I draw 2 sodas and put them in my hand. Browse the textbook before the lecture, or at least skim the introduction and the section headings. It's a lot easier to remember information if you walk into the classroom with a little bit of context. See, I've always done that but had the most trouble with professors who just assign readings and then do their own thing. #X200B. Make time to visit them during their office hours during the first month of the term. Sound them out on the things they consider key information to the course. Don't spend your school time on Reddit, which is exactly what I'm doing right now. I'm not doing that right now. Same. I'm only here because I'm on the can. If you need to participate in group discussion but aren't sure about the material, ask intelligent questions instead of trying to answer what you don't get. It'll buy you time and you'll still be participating. See the professorta during their office hours if you need extra help understanding something. No one comes to office hours and they're usually really happy to help. My classmate took up a strict 9 to 5 school schedule, right from the first semester. Every day, he'd work 9 to 5. He was either in class, working on homework, or studying if he got everything done. At 5 p.m., he'd pack up his stuff and was done for the day. He had all his homework done way ahead of schedule and never had to pull all-nighters or waste weekends on homework. He was never stressed out or anything like that because he'd spent time studying when he wasn't slammed with homework. I could never manage it because I'd rather procrastinate and start 3 hours before it was due, but it seemed like the best way to do it. Edit, to answer the flood of questions, this was in computer programming. We did get projects estimated at like 60 hours a week later in the course, but by then he was so far ahead of everyone else that he could start working on them as soon as they were assigned and knew the content so well that he still didn't have to work outside his core hours, while I was pulling multiple all-nighters in the lab trying to catch up. Yes, you might need more time based on your program. The point is to get into a routine and use your time effectively. He didn't have a job because school is affordable where I live, and we were in a co-op program where you work every other semester and can save up some money, but he did take contract work to do in the evenings, weekends for some cash, and would have had every night and weekends to work if he wanted to do so. Get enough sleep. Seriously. I know it's hard. I know there's not enough hours in the day. But if you're gonna cut anything, it shouldn't be sleep. Sleep more than you study more than you party, and party as much as you can. So 9 hours sleep, 8 hours of study, then 7 hours of party, every day. Gotcha. Honestly, not that bad of a schedule. If you actually study 8 hours per day, you'll be way better off than most. Are you factoring class into studying? Quizlet is pretty great. Great for finding the entire tests for some reason. That moment seeing my take-home anthro test was lifted from Quizlet. By a woman who spent an hour talking about plagiarism. Word for word. Same order. It probably happened the other way around, someone put the test on Quizlet after she wrote it. 99.99999% of the time the teachers didn't make the tests that are on Quizlet and they're just pulled from some test pool. If you have lazy teachers, Google a direct quote from a worksheet or assignment and you can sometimes find teaching resources and answers online. At my school the teachers have their own website and can make different folders for resources. The teachers have the option of putting a link on their site so students can access it. So teacher can see all links and students can only see ones the teachers put on the public site. I looked up one of the assignments for my app environmental class and found a link to my teacher's answer folder for all homework. I really looked out there because I had no clue what I was doing in that class. If I learned anything from my high school days, don't tell anyone, because if you do it will spread and then no one will be able to use it. Oh, I didn't. I got through that class without telling a soul. The next year though I told my friends that were taking it. They kept it a secret too. Did your friends tell their friends and made sure they kept it a secret? At that point he's already passed, so it doesn't matter to him. Do your homework at lunch. I do it in high school and now I have so much time to masturbate and not have a social life. Before exam make a copy of all the material you have to know, but change it in the way you would explain it. It helps a lot to learn the subject. I found that explaining the concept out loud, even if it's to nobody, really helped me or made me realize what I still didn't know. In programming this is called rubber duck debugging. In the process of explaining the program lines in terms a rubber duck would understand, you will probably see where you screwed up. If you don't know how to study, or have a hard time getting yourself to do homework, get a friend to buddy with. My ADHD ass can't study to save my life, but if my friend is in the room concentrating on that shit, I feel like I don't want to be left out, and I'll buckle down so we're on the same page. If you can't manufacture executive function, peer pressure is fine too. #X200B, #X200B, edit, for all y'all saying you don't have friends, friends isn't the point. Grabbing a study partner is the point. It could be a classmate, it could be a sibling, it could be a guy off the internet that you pay $4 an hour to check in regularly and demand scholastic updates during study time. I've actually used that last one to crank out half a novel. I wouldn't have made it through postgrad without doing this. My study buddy found me, knew me for 15 minutes before she said, "I know you're smart but you obviously can't focus for shit. I'll make you learn it if you teach it to me." My grades went from C to A and we both made it out to good jobs. I actually find my favorite form of studying is tutoring peers. I have to know all of it to actually help, and am reframing my knowledge all the time to get a better understanding of it. Peanut butter can be a meal. Woof woof. Doggy doggy what now? What is this? A crossover episode? You've got to play the metagame. If you're lazy and unorganized like me, you won't have time to properly study for everything and complete every assignment. That's when you look at the grade distribution and start with the items that are worth the most. This is so important. Keep track of your points. The only way you know if you can skip a homework assignment or bomb a quiz if you've been carefully watching your grades so far. This also goes for working adults, full-time, with classes, especially also full-time. If you have 4 classes on your plate and you work 8 hours a day, maybe you need to skip an assignment. The question is, what's worth the least versus the time sink? Maybe you've got a math quiz that'll take 10 minutes online, do that. Maybe you've got an English assignment that is worth 5 points but takes 2 hours to do, or worse. An unknown period of time, but probably a while, don't do that. I don't advocate skipping assignments. Why the duck are you even in college? Boo it, there is a thing called damage control. Exactly. In an ideal world, you'd never have to skip anything, but sometimes life just gets in the way and you need to be able to prioritize. It can also work in the reverse. I often skipped minor writing assignments in my undergrad courses because I knew that missing the small amount of points wouldn't hurt my grade and I could then spend the time doing other worthwhile things like sleeping and pretending to have a social life. Do not leave things to be done just before the deadline. Do it ahead of time, if possible, so you avoid unnecessary stress. Helps me survive. Also, learn how to manage your time well. I hate it when professors actively prevent you from working at least a week ahead. Locked assignments are the bane of my existence. So I have midterms this week. One of my professors splits his up so the conceptual part we do online at home. His syllabus says it will be made available a week in advance, so that's what I plan for. He released it last night, it's due tonight at midnight. I'm honestly thinking that I'm going to complain to the department. I have to follow the syllabus, so should he. Edit, a word. You should complain. That's wholly unfair and he's cheating you out of the opportunity to ask questions, get feedback, compare notes, and properly give the section the time you want to give to it. Schools are usually very responsive to students who want to learn. Good luck. You should talk to the professor about it first. Explain that he has given you an expectation and you've planned your time around it, and because he didn't uphold that expectation, you can't complete the assignment in the given amount of time. Sometimes this sort of thing is done by accident, so the professor is more than happy to work with you. Plus, if you talk to the professor first, it can prevent the animosity that's created by going over his head.